Getting more and more professional, this.
Yeah, now we just need some really nice notebooks.
I mean, you making fun of me, being like meticulous about setup, but it is all about that quality, raising the bar.
Yes, I agree that it's a lot about quality, but it's also about timing it when Zakira sleeps so that we can actually be at our best.
I know. And with that, let's get this episode started.
In this podcast, we share month-by-month updates from my daughter's upbringing, from birth and further into her life on the road. Welcome to our new podcast, The Nomadic Parents.
Welcome back, guys. My name is George.
And my name is Ann Sylvia.
And you're listening to The Nomadic
Parents.
Right. We're getting it. Yeah. In this podcast, you can follow our journey as digital parents, nomadic parents, traveling around the world. And we've been doing this for a year now. And I feel we're getting the hang of it.
Yeah, every month we've been releasing one episode to celebrate and tell you guys about the last months of Zakira's life.
And today is a very special day. Today is Zakira's 1-year birthday.
Like exactly today. We haven't really gotten the hang of recording this podcast on the 21st of every month, but this month we made it.
We made it. And with that, let's get this episode started. We're really, really excited to do this episode with you guys. Where do we want to start this episode?
I guess we should start by thanking all of you who are listening to this podcast, who are engaged, sending us questions, and really from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you, guys.
It's been a bit overwhelming, actually. We started off this concept. I mean, for those of you who have listened to all of the episodes, we started this concept kind of impulsive. It was your idea.
Yeah, I really wanted to document as we go our journey as parents, and I feel that we succeeded in what I envisioned, and I'm really proud of this product.
You call it a product now?
Because it's a thing, product. We'll talk a bit about more of products.
It is a product because we're really going for it with full heart, So
And I think it's really funny in retrospective to listen to our episode and see how we are developing the concept as we go along and improving the quality, and that's a lot thanks to you.
But actually, I think one of the exciting things is that it trains us as parents so much to be hosts as well, because that is something that I feel that I didn't see that this project would give us, but I see now how much value it gives us, because we're kind of thinking about this as a professional thing, but also a very private thing. So it kind of forces us to balance that private side of us and really put the professional side through, and then find that merge, which isn't always really easy.
No, I agree. But yeah, I'm dreaming about one day having a sound studio where everything is just set up and we just sit down and we don't have 2 hours before the episodes to prep.
But would it then be the nomadic parents?
True. That's true. That's true.
Right? So I do think having I do think having our recording studio in a suitcase will be the go-to for the next couple of years as well.
Well, then I can't wait for us to get more into it so that it gets more.
All right, from now on, give me 2 hours to prep the studio every time, and then you come and we'll get it going.
Straight when
Because I love the prepping. I'm in my zen, and then you come, I go oh no, now she's gonna start stressing me again.
Because I come with a sleeping baby and I know the time is ticking before she's gonna wake up. So I expect her to wake up during this episode, which is nice so that you guys can see how big she's gotten now that she's 1 year old.
And we need to sing a 1-year anniversary episode. Anyway, guys, we have a lot of interesting topics in this episode. We are gonna talk about our last year on the road, which I'm very excited about. And then we'll also have some special guests coming into the episode.
To come in and wish Zakira happy birthday. And we are doing this because we want her to be able to listen back on the episodes and
know who cares.
yeah, jump into all the love she's getting.
So we've invited friends and family to come with some guest entries into this episode. That is a step for us too. And I think people have been excited for us to do this.
Another exciting news we have to share is that we are currently working on merch.
Yes. As you can see behind me, we actually took in Zakira's favorite, the little Elys Forza teddy bear. So this has a quite curious story that I think we should share a little bit more about it.
For those of you listening in, Georg is currently holding a rhino gray teddy bear with a t-shirt with our merch on it.
And the teddy bear is called the Elys. And the Elys was our first project name for something we did together. And it's kind of a project that we're reigniting a bit. And I think it's funny because some of our followers that have been followed us the longest, they actually commented on it. And we're like, no way, are the Elys coming alive again? So yes, they are. Grab one of the Elys teddies. They are super cute. And the reason the little guy has a Forza logo on is because 2 years ago, you had the pleasure of designing the Forza logo, which is kind of the sports logo of everyone in the LD crew. Everyone who's working for us when they go out running or if they participate in a soccer tournament with a company team, we always use the Forza team. So the Forza team has been joining in on a lot of different competitions, and now it's ready to join your homes as well. And more than that, I also have an exciting news, and maybe you can help me tell a bit about it. In the coming months, we are gonna drop several different new podcasts from LD Studio. Why are we doing it? I mean, we have been hosting our podcast. I've been hosting the Nomadic Business Inside. You're maybe planning to launch something in the future, but why are we aiming so much at podcasts in LD Studio?
We want this LD channel to become a community and a gathering point of different podcasts and different topics, which is why we are helping to enable other people be podcast hosts and create content and be a platform for them.
So the way it works is that we in the company buy the equipment for those who want to be a host for us. We also sponsor all the production and all the strategic advice. We're actually also on a commercial level. We are producing podcasts now for several of our clients. We are just confirming, or we've actually just confirmed, I can release this now. We're doing a big national podcast for the Norwegian Steiner School, which is like the Waldorf school. I think a lot of people around the world know the concept of Waldorf schools, and we're doing the national Norwegian Waldorf podcast.
Yeah, we're really excited about that.
That is something that I'm truly excited about. But we're also launching a new podcast in November that we haven't just figured out the name of, but it's going to be a mountaineering podcast hosted by Peter and Noah. Peter is a good friend of us, which I met this summer, and Noah is the chairman of the Rydmur Foundation. So they're going to be a real good dream team there, I think.
Yeah, we're going quite a bit into I don't know, personal information here, not the personal, but like you need to know what Rydmur is and who these friends are and stuff. But basically, they're two really extreme mountaineers who are going to talk a bit about their stories on the mountains.
And they're going to have a lot of exciting guests in. So enough about that. I think let's stay on topic here, Nomadic Parents. But there are a lot of exciting podcasts launching very soon on LD Studio.
Yeah.
Just got to have a little sip of water.
And in the meantime, let's get this show started.
Summary of the year. Let's jump right into it. 1 year as parents. How has it been?
It's been life-changing. And in thinking about the episodes we've done, so for example, episode 10, where we did Gullnäckeln, for those of you listening into that, where we were 3 weeks in the mountains with Zakira, that was great. I'm really happy we got to do that.
But that was a tough episode.
Yeah, that was a tough episode. You don't really hear it in the episode, I feel like. But in real life, we were on a mountain and then we had to go down and she was crying and there was maybe 4 hours in between the middle of the recordings in that episode. So yeah.
the podcast editing team did a great job covering up, because I think especially hearing, on the very end there where we talked about parenting challenges,
Yeah.
I think that is the time during the first year where it really shines through how tough it can be.
Yeah, you can really hear in our voices that we're like, yeah, guys, we're back.
Yeah. No, but I'm happy with the way we did it. And I think looking back at this year, we've truly managed to be authentic.
Yeah. And then also, I'm really happy about managing to go to Ecuador, which we talked about in episode 6.
All right. So those of listeners who haven't been listening back, which kind of episodes should they listen into to get that touchdown of traveling to Ecuador?
5, 6.
5 and 6.
Yeah. And then 6, we are in Ecuador. She is in the village Ayampe. It's a really nice episode. And then, but my favorite episode
All
has
right.
to be...
I'm excited for this one. I mean, you've been listening through all of them now recently and
Yeah.
just kind of summaring all up.
But my favorite episode is episode 1.
All right.
Like, today is my favorite episode because we talk about pre-birth and our expectations, and it's funny or interesting because it's almost a year ago, and now we're here. We have this huge baby who's starting to walk, and back then we were like, yeah, this is what we had in our pre-birth bag, this is what you should get. And then it kind of changes. Like, it stays the same. We still have all the same stuff, and we are really happy with the choices we've made, but you kind of perfect it.
Perfect being with a baby or perfect your personal aspirations? Equipment-wise. Well, then we will jump into that. But before that, I think let's do a rough summary for those of you who haven't listened into the 11 previous... No, actually... 12 previous episodes,
Yes.
right? Because we did a pre-episode.
Yes.
There are 12 episodes to listen into if you haven't, and go back to it. There is a lot of interesting things to take from them. Since I'm good at summaries, I think I'm gonna kick it off. And
Thank you.
Jump in and correct me.
Thank you.
We got Zakira September 2023, and then we stayed around 2 months in Norway before you went off to Turkey with a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, correct. We are talking about that, I think, in episode 2 or 3. How it is to travel with a baby, and my journeys in Turkey alone with Zakira and my friend who also had a newborn baby.
After Ann Sylvia came back from Turkey, we stayed around a month in Norway to celebrate Christmas. We had our good friend Giuliano visit from Brazil. And during that episode, we're reflecting a lot on spending Christmas with family, staying at home, how that was really important for us. But then pretty much right after New Year, we decided to head over to South America.
Correct. And we had an amazing time in Ecuador and really settled into a new kind of life there. Didn't really feel like traveling, but more like moving.
Yeah. One of the most important things we talk about in the episode 4, 5, and 6 is how building community became so important to us during the time in Ecuador, and we met some amazing other families that also, all of them had kids. Eventually, though, we decided to come back to Norway, but we stayed around a month in Spain and Iran first. And then during the 2-3 months in the Norwegian summer, so when Zakira was about 9 to 11 months, we recorded a Norwegian documentary for the Hiking Association. In August, we landed back here in Ålesund, where we decided to stay for a couple of months. So what are we doing right now here? Because also, again, we're not actually settling down here. We're more or less on the move away from here.
Yeah, we're gonna stay here for some months just to be close to family. My parents live nearby, Georg's parents live nearby, and then really enjoy the bathroom in our apartment, which we renovated, and Georg is very fond of.
Very attached to that bathroom.
Very
I'm showering
attached.
like 2 to 3 times a day.
And then we're gonna move to North Norway, and actually Georg is a notorious planner, and we do have a plan for 10 years ahead, but we'll come more back to that towards the end of this episode.
Right. In the end of this episode, we're going to dive into the future, both close future and distant future. But if you want to know more particularly about us buying a property in North Norway and developing it, I've done already 3 episodes in the Nomadic Business Inside about the journey of buying the house, what our plans with it is, and why we're doing it on a financial perspective. So I suggest going over there to that podcast and listening into that. Our big 4, for those of you who haven't listened to this podcast before, in every single episode during the first 12 months, we've been doing big 4 topics, and those are sleep, physical development, cognitive development, and parenting challenging. And I think, why don't you bring us right into sleep? How has it been since we came back from our 1.5 months of hiking and starting in kindergarten?
Yes. So for those of you who are listening on the previous episodes, Zakira started in kindergarten some weeks ago. And a lot of parents say like, "Ooh, they get so sick in the beginning." And I was like, "Yeah, right. Not my child." But she has been really sick the last couple of weeks, which means fever, puking, and a lot of slime in her throat, which she kind of chokes on in the middle of the night. So she wakes up, starts crying, and she cries so hard that she starts puking. Sorry for the details here, but to say the least, it's been very challenging with sleep lately.
Yeah. No, I can just confirm that. It's almost been a bit surprising how she can be so resistant for 12 months on the road.
Yes.
Eating stuff from the ground, eating street food, us not being super caring about, washing our hands at all times. And I don't know, was she ever really sick?
Yeah, a couple of times she had förkölelse.
She was coughing sometimes, and she had a fever, I think, one time.
Yeah.
But not like now.
Not like now.
So kindergarten has really been hitting her off her feet.
Yes.
But it also has contributed a lot to her sleep routine. So that's very positive.
What Georg is saying is that she is sleeping earlier or falling asleep earlier.
We struggled a lot during month 9 and 10, 11, where my parents helped us to establish a sleep routine. We struggled a lot with putting her to bed, and she really never wanted to try to fall asleep, and she always wanted to stay awake a long time in the evening. But now in the kindergarten, she's so tired at coming home.
She wakes up early. There's a lot of new impressions, so she normally falls asleep at 8. Fine, great.
It actually gives us that 2 hours of free time at home. And as you could listen in episode 11, that time we were spending on giggling and having fun together. Well, cognitive development, I feel she is kind of on the verge of talking with us.
Yeah.
That has been a massive change the last 2 months, that she is using words now, especially like no and yes. She has this very cute expression. We actually did we did some my stories about the different sounds she does. Do you wanna give us a recap?
So it's obviously that
That's a no. That's a no.
And then if you give her something, she says tak 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 tak, which means tak tak, which means thank you.
And then she also has the kind of furious scream, which is
Yeah. She started a new one today, or like a couple of days. Didn't you hear? She goes like really high pitch. Is quite horrible, to be honest. And then when she's tired, she goes mama mama mama.
and she sits and what is it called?
Like rubbing her eyes.
She sits and rubs her eyes and just sits there. Mama, mama. But there is a big pattern of communication, and it's developing literally every day. So I think the next months will be very filled with words and language. I'm excited about that because I have been having the feeling of impatience in some way, of actually communicating with her as a human being.
We talked quite a lot about this. I'm not sure if we talked about it on the podcast, but when becoming parents, one of the things you were really looking forward to was talking. And you said quite a lot of times, like, you can do 0 to 2 years old. I'll take lots of responsibility after that.
Yeah, I think I can still stand with that statement. I mean, I enjoy it now, and I'm enjoying it more and more, and I have been enjoying it a lot the recent years, but I'm still the recent year, but I'm still excited about when she starts talking.
Yeah.
Physical development, I think we are days away from her first step.
Yes, definitely.
The last
She's
days.
standing a lot, and I feel she's stretching a lot. She's becoming a tiny human with normal-sized legs and arms and stuff.
Right. I'm not sure if we actually mentioned it in month 11 that she already was standing, but I think it was kind of a day before we recorded month 11. She stood independently for the first time.
Yes, she did it on Skåpe.
Yeah, but now
She's a cabin.
Yeah, now she's doing it a lot on her own. She raises up stands. She can stand alone. Yesterday with me, it was almost like 2 minutes. We're practicing walking every day and doing great. She's finally enjoying it. I think she's finally seeing the purpose of that. You can even move faster this way.
Yeah, definitely. And she loves climbing stairs. She's a racer on stairs, so you really need to watch. Because if you're turning away for 5 seconds, she's already halfway up the stairs.
Ultimately, parenting challenge. To be honest, for me, I feel the last month has been extremely beautiful, but I do think that's a lot to do with that I got to come back to work and really enjoy work. And I'm at this place and state where I truly enjoy. I'm so filled with energy, so I get very motivated by work. But I do think it's been harder for you.
Yeah. She has a lot of wake time, but she's normally very happy and self-sufficient in terms of playing and stuff. But she's right between a point where she can't really eat herself. She really wants to eat herself. She makes a huge mess and when she tries to eat herself, but it's not really getting a lot of nutrition into her mouth. So I'm really looking forward to that in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, that she will be able to feed herself.
But coming to that point of feeding and messing around, I feel we've found a very good compromise, because for me, cleanliness is an important thing. So in the beginning, I got very frustrated by the thought of every mealtime it would be quite messy around us. But I do feel I found quite a compromise there. I'm just kind of ignoring it and cleaning up after.
Yeah.
And that has enabled her a lot. But for me, it's important that after every mealtime, I'll clean properly, because I just don't want the mess and stickiness on the floor and dirty carpets. So now I actually enjoy it myself as well, having her play around with food. But I see that where you're coming from, that it is a tiring period, because you got to make sure that she gets enough nutrition.
Yeah. And I'm doing like 4 or 5 meals a day. You are maybe seeing 1 or 2.
No, I see that. And one thing I wanted to ask you is, we have been talking in private a lot about you kind of taking time to rest and sleep. How are you feeling, just like for sharing with other mothers on a general place? I think you are still in a place where things are a bit tough, like finding enough sleep time and recovering. The question I have is
tips and tricks,
yeah,
or like how I'm coping.
Yeah, coping and tips and tricks, and also like how are you
not coping.
How are you motivating yourself to get rested again?
I had this discussion with another mom who also has a child which cries quite a bit, much more than Zakira. And I asked her, how are you coping? She like, this looks so tough. And she said there's not really any other choice. And after she said that, I really felt what she said, that when you become a mom, the happiness and well-being of your child is just alpha omega. It's the first thing on the list. And even though I'm very tired and I wish I could sleep longer because she started to wake up at 7 every morning now, it's kind of like just push through. And at one point, she will also have a normal human being sleep routine, and there will be time to rest. And now it's the time to enjoy the fast development.
Thanks for sharing something that is hard. But I think a lot of people are maybe not actually being true about it. And I'm doing my best to kind of push you also to take a good rest. You know, I feel you're a very ambitious, maybe too ambitious person sometimes. And sometimes I think that you get stressed of the thought of losing time. Yeah. But you're still you're not even 30 yet. And I think thinking back about what your ambitions in life were and what you wanted to do and where you wanted to head, it's perfectly fine to use the position we are in that we actually can do it, to take a lot of rest and things that I can help you with, taking her out of bed earlier so that you can sleep in longer, which we did today. Or also saying, I feel kind of sometimes have to force you, saying like today, after she's gone in the kindergarten, like do your exercise and then don't do anything. And then I still keep on calling up on you. Are you doing nothing? Just to check by that you're actually...
It's hard for me.
Why is it hard?
Because I have certain expectations to myself and a certain quality of life which I want to maintain, which for me includes a very clean home, a full fridge, 3 homemade meals a day, and a body which is strong and capable, and work projects which I can continue to work on.
I still feel like sometimes you just gotta release the pressure, breathe, and just say, okay, I'm gonna use days or weeks or even a month or 2.
It's hard for me, and I have been reflecting a lot on this. Why is it so hard for me? Because, like you said, we have such a long life ahead of us, hopefully, and if I take a step back now, it won't really matter in the long term. But I think from years prior to becoming a mother of very high pressure, a lot of 50, 60-hour work weeks, it's
almost like an addiction that is a bit hard to just let the fingers up.
It becomes a habit and the norm of life, which it shouldn't be. But for me, it becomes a comparison point.
Thanks for opening this topic. I think we'll close it by then, because this is not what we wanted to talk about in this episode. But it is one of the dark sides, I think, of being a nomadic and digital mom. Is that the opportunity to progress and proceed towards your ambitions is always there.
The push. Maybe, if you will allow me, we can have this as a topic on your podcast, The Nomadic Business Insight.
I would love to, actually. I would really like to.
Pitching myself, but he only has given me 5 minutes of airtime.
You had one episode, but you don't believe me, but it is amongst the top streamed episodes, and I've gotten a lot of feedbacks where people go, please bring Ann Sylvia back. Really love listening into her. So it's also fun for me having full dominance over you as a host. and with that, let's move into our next topic.
I think, as you can hear, it's been quite a year, and we're deep diving into corners of ourselves which we've never really touched upon.
I've said before, this is like therapy. This is the closest you come to couple therapy without the therapist.
Yeah. We're deep diving into the dark corners of our soul. But it's been a journey. I think it's about time that we share a bit about what we've learned, how our expectations have or have not been met, and
transformations to ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like I've been degraded. No, I'm joking.
Well, do you want me to kick off?
You can kick off.
Transformations. I'll stop name dropping Nomadic Business Inside. But
you.
but we have done an episode there on what has changed in me as a dad in terms of work focus.
And that episode is great, so thanks for sharing that. But can you just, in 2 sentences for us here, sum up
Yeah,
what about?
It was mostly about that my professional ambitions got a very different kind of gene to it that said, shut everything off. It doesn't matter. Focus on family.
Okay.
And so you can hear about that there in the NBI, but I think here today I want to share more about transformation on a personal level. On the personal side, I feel I've become a lot more patient. I feel
I agree.
I had kind of some unsettled gene in myself that could explode almost a bit, when things didn't go exactly the way I wanted, or something or someone was pissing me a bit off. I had like that gene that kind of I didn't want to have, but I couldn't kind of resign it and throw it out of the gene bank, and now it has kind of been
Suppressed.
it's been massively suppressed. There has been nothing really the last 4 or 5 months that has been throwing me off deck.
I've actually never thought about it, but I think you becoming a dad has actually manifested itself in you as the leader. You kind of taken the role, like the daddy aspects of being a dad, into your leadership aspects of mentoring people, showing more empathy, and making you a better person.
Yeah, actually, in many ways, and it's a bit funny to talk about it because for many years I worked a lot with it, but maybe didn't manage to do in the most stressful moments what I worked with. And now suddenly all the work has paid off very fast by giving me that extra kind of gene that is like the dad syndrome here, where I can actually say, well, the reason you're not managing this, I won't judge you too much for that because I also have a kid at home and I see her not managing this or that, and I can just look past things and try to help on it.
So do you feel like it has made you a better person?
Yeah, I think you could pretty much say that it has given me, as you said, empathy. I've become way more patient. I think also in many ways it has made me enjoy family and home time a lot more. Not necessarily being with you. I always enjoyed a lot staying at home with you and having quality time with you. But maybe more in regards of all the other people that I also should care a lot for, like friends and family. All those have taken a much more important place in my life. And I think that comes a lot to that I'm still a very pragmatic person. And I see, well, me actually giving more of myself to them makes them feeling like they want to give more to Zakira. And it's one of the most easy ways for me to ensure that Zakira has many people that she feels loved by. I don't know if the calculation makes sense, but
I
don't think that
a very nice and very unselfish act.
Probably, but it comes from being selfish.
Yeah. I want my child to have love, so I will give love.
It's almost like that. So I'm still honest though.
Yes, you are. And you always have been. And I feel like that's one of your strongest suits, and I hope Zakira in some ways takes inspiration from that.
Cut the crap, say it as it is.
You say too much shit.
How about yourself? What has been your biggest transformation?
I feel that it was always in the cards for me to become a mom. You know, because in work relations, I always naturally become the mommy, and like we joke a lot about it in the company that I take everyone under the wing and stuff. But now it's feels much more natural to actually have a child and really embrace that side of me.
Yeah, I can confirm. I feel you. It's almost that it is a very hard thing to praise, because the way I'm gonna say it now, it will probably not even sound like praise, but I do think it is praise.
Okay, let's hear it.
So before, you were a person that had the capacity and also naturally cared a lot about everyone around you, and you still do that. You haven't lost that trait, but it's almost like getting the child or having children gave you more focus in that purpose of not having to just endlessly burn yourself out on making sure everyone else has a good time, but actually just going, well, I'm just about coping myself because of sleep deprivation and lots of things to do. I'm actually going to narrow down my focus and give a little bit more damn about everyone else and focus more about the core of the family, which I think is a very sexy and feminine trait. I think it's very nice. I feel it's been, I feel it's under communicated in among the people we are with, that masculinity and femininity are can be very dominant roles, and they're very beautiful when they're dominant. I feel many people are taking these kind of conversation on the north and south poles of being Dan Bilzerian, or, you know, being that super macho chauvinism, or woman that just surrendered to man. And that's not where I'm heading with this. It's more, you are really thriving in that femininity of, I want to take care of my child. I want to spend time with my child. I don't want to be concerned about everything else and everyone else. And that's all right.
Yeah. I feel it's about...
But you got what I mean, that it doesn't sound like a praise.
Yeah,
but it is a praise. I feel it really truly is. And if more women realize that that is a praise.
Maybe it's about you really respecting and admiring me, embracing my feminine sides. And in feminine sides, I mean the typical feminine branded trait of being a mom and being the caretaker.
Like breast and ass. The boobs. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god. I'm so embarrassed.
That was a joke. Curvatures.
Let's move on.
Well, what has been hard for you throughout the last year?
I really want to sleep.
Yeah.
I just want my sleep back.
Just having like 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
What has been
8
your
hours
sleep
of
stats?
sleep, stable hormones.
So here's a tricky question I have for you that I've noted in the side, and I just wanted to wait for the right time. Do you still feel like having 2 or 3 children?
I do. Okay, because I think it's sad for Zakira to grow up alone when she doesn't have to. I don't think there's a massive shift in responsibility from having 1 to 2. And I would love to have at least 2 children. But since the adoption borders in Norway are currently closed, and probably will be for some years, I think it would be nice to make another child. And then when the borders open up again, adopt 1 or 2
We're
more.
still on the adoption
Yeah.
thought, and it's been something that has been really sad for us. I remember the day you got to know it. It was very tough for you. It was a very sad moment.
I cried. I was so sad. So heartbroken.
Imagine that our next child. Actually, we always imagined our first child to be adopted.
Yes.
And it took so long time, so we decided to have Zakira, and then we wanted to have our second child adopted, and now again, because someone is saying adoption is not an ethical process, it kind of ruins for everyone that want to help out. So without diving into that, it's really sad. But so you're still imagining that you want many children?
At least 2.
At least 2. What has been the proudest moment of you the last year?
What
for
about you? Do you want more children?
Yes and no. I'm always happy just having 1 child as well. But I see the picture of, you know, when you grow in capacity, and I think it's really important for me to even have a stronger even though we have a strong financial position in our life. I think I even want a stronger financial position, and I even want more self-serving assets that that bring income passively, so that when the moment comes that I go, well, I have 3 beautiful children, I only want to play with them, I only want to climb with them, I only want to surf with them, then I can actually do that.
Yeah.
So that is
Could
very important.
also lower your expectations and costs of life.
Yes.
You don't need all the assets you have, and you could just live in a bungalow in the Philippines. Or
We could, but I prefer having
funky house.
I prefer having what we have, and I think give it 3 to 4 more years, and if you're happy with taking the role at home of raising the young children, as I said, I'm always going to be ready to step in full energy when they're 3 to 4
Let's have 5.
because I think there is nothing more fun than being like a home dad with 5 children that love to run. So if you're happy to take the business seats, if you're happy to take the business seats when they're 5, we could swap back again.
No.
So everything has to go by itself then. Well, what are you the most proud of and the most happy of before we summarize this part?
A lot of people abandon the cloth nappies, the fabric diapers, after some months.
I think we have to give some context because we've been using cloth diapers instead of the one-time diapers that you buy in the store for, I'd say, a fair like 60-70%
Of the time,
of the time in terms of amounts of diapers.
Yes. And a lot of people abandon the idea. None of our friends do it. And
Some tried, but some
Yes,
even gifted
most of them.
us their diapers.
Most of them tried and abandoned the idea very fast. And I'm very proud that we have stuck to it and then kind of hybrid made it work into modern day life, where she uses the single time diapers when she goes
To the kindergarten
and when she's sleeping, because then you just get leaks. Not, and then
all of the rest of the time.
Yes.
We're using cloth diapers.
Yeah.
And I feel there are like 3 very simple tricks you can, if you stick to them, then I think you will manage to. One of them is you got the kind of diaper bag hold, what do you call it? Like a container, a trash container, a bucket that is sealed, so that you actually have quite a bit of storage of smelly, dirty diapers that you can just throw them away. So that has been helping
And
massively.
they're designed for the normal one-time use diapers, so you can just use the same thing.
So a diaper bucket where we just throw them immediately in. Then obviously having enough of them that you don't continuously have to wash. So I think by now we have around 20, something like that. And that's a nice amount, because then you can actually go a couple of days, you can fill up that bucket, and then you just throw all of them in one rush round of very hot washing, and it cleans it all out. We don't even clean poop out. The washing machine just washes it all through. And that has been working beautifully. And the last thing you're doing, which I think is really amazing, is that you prep them. You're putting the inlay into the diapers and folding them nicely and putting them in a cupboard, so that they're at hand in the same convenient way than normal diapers.
And lately we had a lot of leaks, so I've been doing double liners inside, and it works amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
What about you?
I am proud of that we have stuck to traveling and moving around. I think we are among the only couple I know, because we even know a lot of couples that did travel a lot and got their child and then decided to only stay in one base for security and comfort and all these kind of things. And a lot of people we meet say this to me, that they didn't believe that we will pull it through. Because I always said that when we get a child, I think we'll be just the same. We'll be moving about. We'll doing all this crazy stuff. We'll surf. We'll climb. It won't change. It will adapt in a way that speed and tempo isn't the same. But we'll still do the same things. And I think we're here now, and we can say proudly that we haven't changed.
I agree.
That is one of the proudest moments for me, because I think once you kind of say, well, let's just settle down for 1 year, for 2 years, for most people, the door just closes. That they have run into so much comfort and so many habits that opening that door will feel very tough again. And so putting ourselves through the moments of stress, traveling with such a young baby, has kept the door wide open, very wide open. And another fun thing about it is actually coming home now to the west coast of Ålesund, to one of our apartments where everything is set up, where we have our comforts, feels so overly comforting. Not in a negative way, but I just, I don't feel anyone else has this sensation of rest that we have when we actually come home.
True.
Because I feel like extremely rested.
Yeah, that's nice to know. Well, it's nice to have a place where everything works, where everything fits, has its place.
Yeah, no. Cool sections, been cool summarizing, and I think we're putting a lot of value into this. And if you feel like there's anything that we left out, then just shoot us a DM or email us on podcast@ld.studio, which is our new podcasting email address. And we'll make sure to answer those questions in the future. And with that, I think let's move into our special section for this episode. We have birthday wishes coming up for Zakira.
Yes, birthday wishes. So we have called some of our friends and family and asked them to give Zakira some words, maybe of wisdom, wishes for her to listen into in the future.
Or memories that they have shared together the recent years. So here we are, bringing you some of our closest friends and family. And I think we'll start straight off with one of our closest friends, Uncle Martin.
Dear Zakira, it's now been 1 year since you've been born, and I must say, I did not believe you were going to stay alive for such a long time as 1 year. Knowing your father and your mother, they are quite, spontaneous and adventurous. And let's just say that the way your father is, it was just not in the cards for you to stay alive for more than 1 year. So congratulations on the first year. And let's hope it will be many more. But when you become older and when you start getting your tantrums and your teenage moods and whatever, always know that you are welcome to come down to Denmark or wherever. Me and Laura, your godparents, if you want, you are always welcome to stay with us. I don't know how much to tell you, but the first time I saw you was the day you were born, and already then I was quite amazed that this little beautiful creature was a creation by George, and I knew he was good at creating things, but never in my mind would I expect him to, or believe that he would be able to create something as beautiful as you. You were truly the most beautiful baby I had ever seen. And I can only say that now because I haven't had my own kids yet, but yeah, you are amazingly beautiful as a child when you came out, and now a year later you just become more and more pretty as you are. You are a person that I believe will grow into be the most amazing version of both your father and your mother, and I have not high expectations, but I believe that you will be something great eventually, more than you already are. So congratulations, happy birthday, Zakira. Love you so much, and yeah, I can't wait to see you grow up and become a beautiful woman and a strong person. Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Thank you so much for sharing. That was really fun. So who's next on the list?
Well, we got the chance to live talk with Sunniva and Sundre this morning, which are one of our oldest friends, and they also have a child called Nuri, which we've spent a lot of time with the recent years, and we really hope for Nuri and Zakira to bond together. So here we go, Sundre, Sunniva, nice to have you in.
Hey, and
How are you?
We're good. We're celebrating Zakira from Valdres.
Nore is singing the birthday song.
Zakira is sitting and laughing here.
Perfect.
So we wanted to challenge you guys on sharing one fun memory with Zakira. Do you have one that you wanted to let her know about when she is old enough to listen into this?
Yes.
We have several.
We have several, but maybe the one at Nøsen with the trampoline.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let us know. I mean, we know the story, but what did you like about being at Nøsen at the yoga camp?
Well, yeah, we were just, jumping, having fun, and
Laughing.
yeah, and it was just beautiful scenery. We were just chilling. We were supposed to go hiking, but instead we were just decided to just chill on the trampolines. I believe that it was Sakira's first time on the trampoline too, right?
Yeah, it was the first time she had been on one, so I think it was both scary but also very inspiring.
Yeah, but she was so chill and happy and smiling. Memories, Bradley.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining in. We really look forward to spend some time with you soon again, and it's so beautiful always to see Nori and Zakira together. So I think
they're gonna
Zakira is
become
missing
best
Nori a
friends.
lot.
Yeah, it's actually perfect. But Kira is a bit older, so you can show Nuri the way.
Actually, now it seems like Nori is showing Zakira the way. Nori taking her first step already.
Yeah, but Zakira is just super chill, and Nuri has a lot to.
Well, thank you guys for joining in, and hope to see you guys.
Last birthday wishes for Zakira?
Stay chill and take the what to say. I don't know. Just enjoy your parents.
Yes.
Because you're super lucky, Zakira.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you guys.
And we are looking very much forward for you and Nuri to become best friends.
Yes, forced.
Yes.
Forced couple.
Yeah, of course.
All right, guys. Lots of love. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So lovely words. Thanks for sharing.
Next up on the list, we have my brother and also kind of godfather in a way. He's been like remote being an uncle, and he is planning to travel a lot more to visit us in the future. So stage is your Uncle Momo.
Hello Zakira, Uncle Momo here. I wish you all the best for your first birthday. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I look forward to see how you develop and grow and develop your own personality and start doing sports and start joking around. It will be terrible fun. If I can give you a note advice for life, I would say that don't be afraid of what people think about you, because the people who love you, respect you, and like you as the person you are will always respect your decisions as long as they come from your heart. So take your decisions from your heart and explain them the right way, and people who love you will always respect you.
So nice to hear all of this love coming in. Next up, we have my little sister. and Zakira's auntie, Alfa, who is in Bergen, and sending all her love.
Hei, Zakira. Gratulerer med ettårsdagen din fra din gudmor og tante. Vi har allerede hatt mange koselige opplevelser sammen. Jeg har besøkt deg flere ganger i Ålesund, og du har besøkt meg og onkelen din i Bergen. Og om noen uker skal vi på din onkels hytte. Men det morsomste var når vi var i Berlin sammen med mammaen din. Vi dro på dyrehage, så Berlinmuren, og ene dagen var vi to helt alene og koset på kafé og kikket rundt. Det jeg husker spesielt godt var at ene dagen så sovnet du på brystkassa mi, og jeg tenkte, så søt du er, helt til du våknet opp og kastet opp av meg. Ja, sånn er det å være tante. Jeg må tåle dine gode og dårlige dager. Gleder meg masse til våre neste opplevelser og minne sammen, og ta deg med på koselige turer. Jeg skal passe på deg og alltid være her for deg. Glad i deg, hilsen tante.
Thank you for sharing. This is gonna be epic. She's gonna love this
It
episode.
is. I'm already loving it now.
And now, for the one and only, the legends. Mia familia. My parents, Alf and Linda.
Hi, Zakira. Happy birthday. I wish you all the best, all the luck and the love you can have in life. We love you, Zakira. We love you very, very much. You are such a beautiful creature, beautiful baby. And now that you're 1 year old, you have to live your life and show your parents what you can have and give them. Okay? Okay, promise? Zakira, are you there? Zakira, say hi. Oh, say hi. Sånn, pappa min. Sånn. Pappa sin tur.
It's actually sometimes hard to have Linda stop talking. She has so much to share. But thank you so much, guys, for joining in.
So much love.
I know that Zakira will love this, and I'm pretty sure once Zakira is around 5-6 years old and speaks perfectly English, she will have a big laugh of this, and she'll be coming up running to her grandparents and say, "Do you remember this, Grandma?" Yeah. That turned out amazing.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous, how it would feel to bring in so many friends and family into one episode, but
I hope you guys enjoyed that as well, because here in the sofa, it was amazing.
we had a good time listening into that, and I think Zakira will have an even better time listening into it to the future.
And then we'll be moving on to some questions which we've gotten, and it's perfect timing because Zakira just woke up.
Right. You guys have been active sending us questions, and we haven't had a chance to pick out all of them because there were quite many. So we have picked the 5-6 questions that we felt were the strongest of all of them. So thank you guys, those of you who shared those. And I know all of the other questions, we have written them down, and we'll make sure to take them with us into further episodes. And with that, do you want to go and get Zakira?
I will get her.
Hello and welcome in. Well, for those of you listening in, we just woke up Zakira and she has a sleeping hairstyle. It's very cute, but you are full of smiling emotions. Have you just rested so well?
2-hour nap on birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Do you want to have us sing a little bit for you on the podcast? Super quick one.
Which one? Do you know anyone?
The English happy birthday.
Happy birthday to
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zakira. Happy birthday to you. Do you want an ice cream later? Well, we are jumping right into questions here because people listening into this podcast have been asking you a lot of exciting questions, or actually they've been asking us exciting questions.
About you.
About you and life with you, which has been a quite good life. Thank you. Are you... I think you need to take the first question because Zakira wants me to eat her snack.
Okay. The first question, which I chose out of the pile, is who does Zakira look more alike?
I think the big mass out there has confirmed. I mean, every time we meet someone, they go, "Whoa, she looks a lot like her dad." And
Where are my genes?
maybe
Where's this Asian
massively
Norwegian side?
massively suppressed.
But she has taken my father's eyes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But
But I don't have his eyes, so
once she grows up more, then she will probably look more like your mommy. I think so.
but I like her. Like, I think she's the world's cutest baby, as any mom should think. So I'm not very sad about her not looking like me.
And as you can see already, it is much tougher doing a podcast with someone that is crawling around, playing around, wanting to feed you. But enough about that. I have a question for you too, and that is, if you have to pick one memory, what is your favorite memory from 1 year on the road with the baby? You have to pick one.
Road. My favorite memory is every day, several times a day, jumping in the pool in Ayampe in our villa.
That was really beautiful. So you
Some of the sunsets there with her in the floaty, just enjoying life and this pure bliss of not having to do anything and being in the pool.
I agree.
So nice.
We had the opportunity of some friends there, a Belgian couple, to rent their massive and beautiful villa up in the jungle. And that saltwater pool, we
Yeah, non-chemical.
almost topped out my shower at home here. But yeah, that was beautiful. Just every day for such a long time.
Yes. Do you want to share your favorite memory or?
It's the same, actually. I think it's the same. I massively enjoyed that. But I also now really enjoyed the summer in the mountains with her because it just became exactly as I was imagining it to become. Apart from that one podcast episode that was very hard to record, I think spending.
Didn't have the 2 hour of prep, you know.
I didn't. It was just very simple. Recorded with a phone and some small mics. Right. What's your next question?
I have a really funny question from Uncle Martin. So his question was, how did you meet my expectations of a dad? And how have you changed after becoming a dad?
So
I can take the first part of the question and you take the second part.
all right. So he asked you how I, as a dad, have met your expectations.
Yes.
All right. Go for it. Strong, protective, smart, planner.
I don't know. It was really funny because before we got Zakira, Georg told everyone how he would take all the nappy changes and feed her every time she needed it at night. And I always knew that would never happen. So I think I'm very realistic in terms of you meeting my expectations. But I think people will not think you met my expectation.
So basically, you're giving Martin right in that I did not meet any expectations.
Yeah, but you did meet my expectations because they're so low.
No positive things to share?
Expectation-wise, you are very good at playing with her and caring in terms of making sure that she is fed or asking if she has been fed.
What was the question for me in there?
That was the second part. The part about how you have changed after becoming a father. Because as he said, he never envisioned you to become a father.
I think I've answered that a lot already in the podcast. But another thing that I didn't mention earlier in the podcast is that I feel like I've taken way more interest in her development that I would think that I would take, because I'm normally not very particular about that kind of, steps in life of other people, development. It's just nothing that has naturally interested me a lot.
Do you mean like for walking?
Yeah, all these small
talking?
steps. And it also taught me a lot about taking interest in other people's steps. So that is nice, taking notice of development in general is something that has changed in me. My next question for you is from some of our listeners in South America, and I think it's natural that they ask this question because economy is obviously an important thing. Has traveling with a kid been a lot more expensive than traveling without a kid? And if so, how? And if not, how?
Flying with Zakira or a baby under 2 years old is free. You only pay for the taxes, which on, for example, domestic flight in Norway is 0 kronas. And for a flight from Norway to Berlin is 5 euros. So I think in terms of tickets and flying, it's not really more expensive, but you kind of do different activities than what you normally would have done with a baby.
I think that can go both ways, though, that you can... Oh, are you tired already? Do you want to go for a walk? Look here. Go. There's many exciting things around you. Okay, nothing exciting. Daddy just dropped me on the floor. Can you imagine?
Drop. What I mean. Ow. This is what I meant with the new sound. You do end up taking different choices in terms of activities and accommodation and travel-wise. So it is more expensive to travel with a baby because you end up taking a shorter flight with not as many connections. You end up sleeping at a hotel instead of a hostel.
I agree with those things. I was about to mention that the choice of comforts that you probably take requires another financial position in your life in some ways. But you can still do it the backpack in impulsive way, and sometimes we take those impulsive choices, but your stamina, your endurance of doing those impulsive activities is shorter. So it's fine a night or two, but then you want to seek back to the comfort. So that kind of does that in the long term, you're probably spending a little bit more money. But also I think there is lots of activities that you maybe don't do, like, for example, going out drinking or these kind of things where you, again, save money. So I'm not 100% sure. We haven't sitting down and done the numbers exactly. I'd say we spend it more during the last year than we naturally would done because we just felt like having a lot of comfort. But I think you can be quite restrictive on budget and still have a very fun time.
That being said, traveling always costs money, living costs money, but I would say that traveling with a baby is more expensive, but you are also 3 persons rather than 2 people traveling.
And it probably becomes way more expensive when the children get older and bigger.
Wouldn't go to Disneyland.
Tough question here. You can probably take it as a quick and short answer, and we'll deep dive into it in future episodes. But kindergarten or not?
Kindergarten, yes.
Big time.
Yeah, but maybe some of the people we met don't like kindergartens because of their country. But in Norway, or at least the kindergarten Zakira is currently in, is amazing. They really care about her. They really care about her having a sleep routine which matches with the one at home. They really see the child and focus on development of the individual person and creativity.
In terms of, as you said, in a country like Norway, yes. it gives us so much more concentration in doing what we want or free time, and actually having a bit of rest from her as well. But on the road, I love having her all the time. But I know there are a lot of people also in countries like Norway that say, I want to stay at home at all times with my kid.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I also want Zakira to be able to play with kids her age.
Do you have another question for me?
I only have one left.
That's perfect, because I also have just one left, and then I think we've done 6.
What has surprised you the most with becoming a parent?
Surprised the most? I think the quantity of small things that change in life. The quantity of all the small steps throughout the day and the small different things that you have to do. Like, for example, now that it's almost not even possible sitting down recording a podcast.
I'm getting hugs and kisses and screaming and feeding.
But it's also surprise, it's things that you have to get used to.
Yeah.
So that has surprised me. And how about you?
It has surprised me how long they are dependent on you. That they're completely independent and until they're probably 5 years old. Then they can slowly start doing things themselves.
Not like any other primals that just come out of their mother and start living life.
It's just that they need help falling asleep. That they need to be fed until they're 2 years old. Stuff like that. Okay, shoot us our last question, Georg.
The last question is, do you want your kids to take over your ventures?
I love the idea of passing something on for generations and generations. I still think it's important to hire the right people and expand outside family. But if Zakira or our other children really wants to stay in the business, that would be a privilege and a pleasure.
I also agree. I love the concept of kind of the Italian family taking over generations after generations. But yeah, I see your argument of a corporate modern world where there is a professional corporate focus growing, and not just because you are the children of the owners.
Yeah.
But it is really cool, being able to step into a venture from your parents and kind of growing in responsibilities very early. All right, I think that's what we have for today. But we have one more topic, and for that, I think let's put Zakira down on the floor that she can play a bit. So I'll just grab her with me and put you with some of the toys we brought. Questions done. Did you feel there were some good questions?
Definitely. And I really want to do a live Q&A in the future.
Yeah.
Or more Q&As in the future.
I think Q&As are great because there are a lot of questions that you never kind of think about yourself.
That we take for granted.
Yeah, I'm feeling very aligned about that idea in terms of doing more Q&As. But we're coming to the end of the episode. Zakira is awake, so we kind of got to summarize this, let's say, in a 10-minute fashion. She's just about now kind of standing up with a chair, balancing, smiling at us. So luckily there is a lot of space to crawl around here up at the top floor, and we're alone, and we have a good time. The last part we want to jump into for this anniversary 1-year episode is the future. We have used very little time in this podcast so far talking about future. What are our ambitions? And you were just mentioning...
We already confirmed that we will have 5 kids.
So there will be
Signed, sealed, delivered.
There will be very little time for other things. But talking about future, you already introduced early in the episode that we have a 10-year plan. Do you want to talk more about that?
For those of you who don't know Georg very well, he is kind of a control freak, organization freak, and a planner to the core. And he gets kind of stressed if he doesn't have a plan. And he always goes, whenever he goes traveling, he's like, I want to live here. I want to live here. I want to live here. And I'm like, pew, 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 shoot down the idea. But we have made a document, 10-year plan for where we're going to live and what we're going to do and where we're going to travel to settle your...
Need for planning.
Definitely. And this document has actually been quite accurate.
And it gotta be mentioned that it is a live document. So it's not written, confirmed, sealed, and printed out. It's a live document that we have been adjusting and kind of, when things move another way or we have figured out that something we wrote down 2 years ago is not something that we necessarily aspire anymore, we change it. But I would say that having a 10-year plan for the relationship is something that is a very powerful tool. Because one of the things that you mentioned to me very early in our relationship is that you deeply appreciated my dedication and my kind of ambitions for being together. And I feel that was much of the things that made our relationship so strong at an early age was me saying, I want to do this with you. I want to do this with you. And I see us doing all this together.
Kind of like a manifestation. And then it also in the back of your mind becomes the reality.
I think a lot of couples have things to learn from that because many I meet are almost afraid of putting out their ambitions or dreams for the future in a too confirmed or ambitious way. Almost like they're afraid that the other side or the partner would judge them a bit or think that they're a bit too crazy or overambitious.
But that said, I don't think that they or you guys necessarily have to make a plan as ambitious as ours. It can also be 10 years in the same place and then subcategories. Because as you'll hear, our 10-year plan is quite
ambitious. But that's very good of you pointing out. I think that is very healthy, actually, of you pointing out, because as you'll hear, the plan is very ambitious and it's almost a bit crazy, but it has actually been our plan and we're following through with it. And as long as we have been together, we have had a 10-year plan. So obviously every year it moves a bit into the future with one more year. But already when we got together when we were 17, I had a very clear sense of direction for what I wanted to spend my time with you with. And pretty much till today, we've been following up on it.
Definitely. There's this meme online where there's this person meticulously planning the vacation. And then there's this shot of a small, 2-year-old girl going through the airport like, da-da-da-da-da-da, me joining. And I feel that really represents our relationship. Not that I'm not actively taking part in decisions and where we go and stuff, but you just love planning and I'm really bad at it. So it's just naturally been your strong suit and responsibility in the relationship.
It's been a nice balance, to put it in that way, and a balance that I feel it's safe to say we both feel comfortable and good in. And the planning part is not... Our 10-year plan list is very short. Every year has a couple of small bullet points. It is not very deep. It is not talking about budgets. It's not talking about exact dates or exact time frames. It is just year to year, a rough bullet list.
Do we want to jump into some of the points in our 10-year plan?
Absolutely. I'm getting there. I actually have it all memorized.
Really?
Yes.
Because I'm sitting here kind of stressed. I'm like, oh my God, I think that's that year. I think that year, but Georg will probably correct me.
But before we jump into it, I just wanted to let everyone know how we actually execute on it. Because when it comes to the stage of doing what is in our 10-year plan, and we're closing in, all right, next half year we're going to do this and this, then we're very collaborating on that. It is not something that we just, all right, I've planned this all out in a 10-pager strategic document. Now just sign here and we'll do all.
It's written down. We have to do it.
We normally spend, I'd say, a fair afternoon on average every week to sit down and work with the next steps of our 10-year plan. And we'll get a bit more in detail on that.
Weekly?
Yeah, I think on an average base, maybe every second week, some periods more intensively, but we sit down quite actively, undertaking the next steps on a private level that need to be done to do what we want to do in terms of our plan. As for example, now, which is coming up in our 10-year plan, is moving up to North Norway, or actually in our plan was buy a property in a countryside place and move out of the city and build our long-term forever future base.
Yeah.
That was kind of how it was manifested in our 10-year plan. So we wanted to have a child, go out, travel the first year, and then after that...
That's actually a very funny point. Georg has in the plan, next to the year, written how old our children are going to be. But obviously, that plan included an adopted child, so we'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, I agree. And there will be adjustments to the plan along the way.
Now we need to make room for 5 children.
But in the close future, the plan holds buying a property, which we've done, moving up there and starting to establish and build our long-term dream future base. And you were quite clear that the years after you've had your first child, you want to be a mom staying at home, working mostly with development of that home and building that property. So we're kind of aligning our life for you to be able to do that, and for me to continue my business career remotely, being even closer to nature, to mountains, to climb, to surf. And during that time, we've also set out some ambitions for countries we want to visit and go to. But most of the next 2 to 3 years is going to be filled with staying and developing that base with short weeks or months of travel as kind of breaks from the building project. Do you remember what's up after that?
After that, which year are we at?
Then we're moving on 2027, 2028. Yeah, kind of 2027.
So Zakira will be 4 years.
Yeah, 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years, we are out and about.
That is right. In our plan, we have manifested that at that point, we either want to take our van or we want to invest in a bigger and more adventurous van. Yeah. And we want to go out for around maybe 3 to 4 years driving around in the world.
Ew. We want to be in Oslo when Zakira starts in school.
Yeah, but for me, she starts in school when she's 8. Well, we have to discuss that. But I'm a big fan of homeschooling. And I think the first and second years in school, you can so easily do homeschooling. And it's just so empowering to be out on the road. I want to spend that time, surfing, climbing. And
But we could have her in school somewhere else as well.
We can, but I still am very open to the idea to start school at an age of 7, 8 in third degree. I think homeschooling brings a lot of exciting opportunities. And also, we're still discussing there, but then after becoming 6 to 8 years old, at least when you really have to start school, then we have the plan to move to Oslo, Norway's capital. Why?
Because it's a very child-friendly, safe place to be in Norway. It has a lot of the technologic hubs, and we just really love the vibe there.
Yeah. Oslo has a beautiful cultural scene with theaters, urban locations, restaurants.
And I think in many ways it's about giving Zakira
and her siblings
what we would have wanted as children.
Yeah, I remember I enjoyed a lot living in a very cultural city in Germany as a young child, spending time with especially my dad, but both of my parents, biking around, joining events, meeting funny and interesting and artsy people. And we've been talking a lot that we want to give the same impressions to Zakira.
Same upbringing, yeah.
Same upbringing. But then after our time in Oslo, so probably we will by that time have established a very interesting rental unit in North Norway, and we'll be renting that out during the time when we travel, sometimes coming home to enjoy the big vacations and meeting family. But then we'll buy a place in Oslo, stay there and develop that and have some fun years in Oslo. And then I think after that, we're kind of reaching at the end of the 10-year plan for now, but we're still experimenting a lot with the idea to either move to Japan or the US or any other place in the world for a couple of years. And I think especially in the age of primary school and secondary school, you can still do that. The children bond quickly. And yes, they will miss their friends at home, but it is an exciting time where you can still move around and live in different countries. I've always been very open to that. Japan has been top of my list. I really want to spend time there. But also countries like South Africa, more countries in South America.
So we haven't really decided, but there are a lot of countries, potential countries on our list
that we want to move to and visit to. But I think North Norway will always be a base. Rounding off the topic, like outside of our 10-year plan, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself living just one place when when our children are kind of the age of 13, 14?
I really want a house in Norway and a house in Spain, and then most of the year stay at one of those places.
Yeah, so that she can kind of have two base locations.
Yeah. And then maybe mostly stay wherever she chooses, or we choose, or they want to stay in school, if that is in Spain or in Norway. Stay there for most of the year. And then when they're 16, 17, that's when you moved out. That's when they probably will move out. Then we can start traveling quite a bit again.
Yeah, I agree. And I think still there will be a lot of traveling involved throughout those years and going different places, and maybe having a van that we just move around and park and station, and we can go back to it through holidays. But yeah, I think having a base is very important when childs are at the age of establishing all their own friendships and being out bicycling on their own, wanting to have that freedom together with their friends. I do believe Spain is going to be more based than Norway, even though I'm in love with the north of Norway.
Yeah.
It's just really appreciate having sun a lot.
A nice temperature for the joints and the body.
Right, and not to underestimate the sangria, the tapa, the amazing people. Big shout-outs to Spain, not so big shout-outs to Norway, but Norway is great for many purposes. For many things. Well, I think with that, that's it. We were pretty much on the end of this feature episode. We had a real blast doing this more long format episode. It's also more tiring for us because there's a lot of things that we need to do research on and diving into and prepare. So please don't expect every episode to be of this format, even though I know that you love listening into.
And it's hard to make time for this when you have a baby.
I think in the future, I mean, we already talked a little bit about it in episode 11, but we're changing a bit the format of this podcast now. We have done what we wanted to accomplish, follow up every month of the first year of her life. And we have decided to continue with this podcast, right?
Yeah, we have. But we are going to slow a bit down on the frequency. And also, I think, ditch the 4 topics.
Right.
And then just talk about what has happened that month.
Yeah, I think the 4 topics were really nice to kind of emphasize the quick development of a young child. But I will still go back to...
Yes, we
still
will
go back to...
Not so Slavic. Is that what you call it?
Yeah. Slavic, you can say. And we'll also invite external guests. That will be something very exciting. We want to change this podcast into still the same essence, nomadic parenting style, and all the time sharing from our journey where we are, where we're going, and keeping that excitement. But we also want to make it a more interesting learning platform for more extensive topics, deeper dives with people that know way more about this than us, and operate more as hosts on this platform and giving the word to other people. So amongst many interesting people, we have, for example, a nutritionist from Norway, a very talented woman that we want to bring in. What are the kind of questions and topics that you are excited to speak with her about?
I'm excited to hear what is the most important nutrition-wise things that kids need to get in, and what are some of the modern problems we are facing, and what are the traps which we should be aware of.
Do you think people traveling a lot with their children have a better or worse tendency of good nutrition? Or do you
I
think...
think it really depends on who, because a lot of people go to McDonald's if they don't have a kitchen and stuff like that. But we always have a kitchen available, which means we don't really do takeout. But if you're traveling the typical way, which a lot of small children families do, in hotels and...
Yeah, no, I see your point.
There's a lot of pizza.
I see your point. Like sometimes you would say traveling people are so reflected and open and conscious and healthy. But I think there are a lot of kids as well growing up in a nomadic lifestyle where it's, as you say, hotels, restaurants, fast food. So that's going to be a very exciting topic.
Definitely.
We also have the wish to do an episode with someone, or maybe even more people that are kind of experts on play styles and challenging parents to think outside of the box of normal tools and what kind of activities to engage into, especially during that time, 1, 2, and 3 years of age, when you cannot join free time activities yet. That is going to be exciting.
Yes, and we want to have people join who have the knowledge which we really want to learn about. So, for example, this with the homeschooling, we would love to have someone come and talk about that on the show.
So we're already discussing with some various experts and people that have kids themselves and have other experience. We're also going to invite a couple of people who have not taken their kids to kindergarten, you know? That is also a very exciting topic because we are very pro kindergarten. We love it. We're big fans and we think it's so healthy for her. But there are also a lot of parents out there that are kind of a bit anxious and almost not trusting the system in a way.
Yeah.
Which I also think is a fair point of view.
Yeah.
So as you can hear, there are a lot of exciting guests coming in. So the format will change a bit and we'll operate more as hosts, making sure to share of ourselves, but also highlighting more specific topics per episode.
Yeah. And not sticking to the monthly to monthly development anymore. But I really love this podcast and I hope you guys do too. And we're excited to keep it alive.
And I think that is it for this time, guys. It's been a pleasure having you in. It's been a challenging but very giving and also very fun episode to do.
Yeah.
Doing a more deep dive, longer format with you.
And it feels very nice to celebrate the jubileum of this podcast. We managed 1 year of monthly episodes.
Now the format is kind of changing a bit, which I think is natural. You know, we're not focusing so much of Zakira's month-to-month development. We're rather going to focus a bit more long-term and also having the opportunity to bring in exciting guests.
Now, after the 1 year birthday of Zakira, we're also going to change the frequency of the episodes. They're going to come out once every second month. Next is going to be in November.
And after that, it's going to be in February. So there are going to be more deep dives into topics. Maybe Zakira's going to join, maybe not. I think once in a while she will sometimes. And with that, I think we're rounding off for this time because Zakira is really on the end here. Zakira really want to get out and have her ice cream.
And with that, thank you so much for listening in. We really, really appreciate it. And as always, my name is Ann Sylvia.
My name is George, and we're your hosts for the Nomadic Parents Podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and bye. Hello, and welcome in. Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you do it? Ah! Are you ready for some serious birthday wishes, or are you just gonna chew on the eggs? Whoa, she looks a lot like her dad.
Where are my jeans?